This is an eraser again in the Petropolitanus, which is the manuscript that is in Paris at the Bibliothèque Nationale there. It is from Surah 42, Ayah 21. And Al-Fadi, what is that? What is that word that's there that we're looking at, where the green arrow is pointing?
Lahum. Lahum. Okay. Yes.
And what does lahum mean?
It can mean something like to them, basically.
Okay. But that's not what it was originally.
That's
if you look, you can see there's an eraser underneath. You can barely just where the arrow is pointing. You can see that there is a eraser, and they've written over top, and you can see it's in a completely different color of ink.
That's right. So most likely what happened is this. I'm just taking a shot at it. Just to show people how simple these things could be. It would have been lahu, meaning to him, and then it was fixed to be like this, lahum, from wow to mim, basically.
The lam he has been changed with lam he mim.
Correct.
And so lahum, to him, has been changed to for them.
That's right. So, and I would say you're right. I mean, it's lahu, again, another way of reading it, and then they corrected it to add the meme.
Or do they have associates who enacted for him? Now reads, or do they have associates who enacted for them?
Correct.
So simple as that, but why did they go from him to them?
Well, I mean, it's obvious that probably the context itself doesn't permit something about an individual or singular, or they wanted to match the standardized copy, which is the 1924 Cairo Quran.
It's actually the second. They had to standardize it to this book here, the Hafs text, which is what they're using all over the world now. Remember in the last episode, we mentioned that in Cairo they needed to do this, and they had a committee from Al-Azhar who chose the Hafs text, a student who died in 796. That was just in Cairo, and that was in 1924, so 95 years ago. By 1936, when King Farouk came into power, they realized that it was so successful. All the tests in Cairo were now standard. They got the same answers from everybody because they were using the same Quran, that they decided to make it Egypt-wide. So all the Qurans in Egypt had to use the Hafs text.
That's right.
It had only been for the city of Cairo, and that was the educational authority that wanted it there. And they called it the Farouk edition, named after King Farouk because that's when he came to power. So all of Egypt now had one standard Quran, the Hafs Quran. Then in 1985, King Fahd, over in Saudi Arabia, saw what was happening in Egypt, and he said, hold on a minute. We need to make this worldwide.
That's right.
And so it was the Saudi Arabians in 1985. 1985, we're just talking about, 34 years ago, made it official that this text, the Hafs text, was now the standard text for the whole world. So this standard text has only been around officially worldwide for 34 years, which makes me older than this text. Ooh, that makes me feel good. Suddenly I feel old, actually, is what it really makes me. So this text of the Quran has not been around for 1,400 years. It's not even been around for 95 years. That was just for Cairo, one city.
Yeah.
It's not even been around for all of Egypt until 1936. It has only been around for 34 years, this official text. So when Muslims say, yes, they memorized it, and they talk about this girl here and this little boy here who's memorized the entire text, they're listening to this little girl and boy, and they are impressive. They are impressive. What are they reading? They're reading the Hafs text. They're reading this text. The only reason why those girls and little boys all over the world are getting it right is because they have something to read to know what they're getting right. They're certainly not reading the Warsh or the Al-Duri, they're not reading the Khalid, they're not reading any of these other 31 that we have been able to find. They're only reading the Hafs text. They've been only able to do that for 34 years, excuse me. Can you see? We need to nip the bud on this and say, folks, be careful when Muslims say they memorized it. They've only been able to memorize this text for 34 years, and in Cairo for 95 years.
That's right. That's right. And this is so damaging, of course, because we're talking about a book that Muslims believe is 14 centuries old, when in fact you hear these facts now. It's not that long. Even if we say it's 95 years old, still nowhere being 14 centuries ago.